Disclaimer, I do not dislike cinema scenes.
Along the way, and yes, we know Wade is voiced by a person of color, but that doesn't make it any less obvious these watery assholes symbolize white people based solely on the way they just show up and spill out all over the place like a Carnival cruise ship owned and operated by Columbus on its way to the Caribbean.
There's no literary equivalence for ethnics in this movie.
Happened. How many times has a water person put out a fire person? How many times has a flame guy accidentally started a brush fire in a family of soil people?
Earth people wouldn't get hurt by fire. Their bodies are made of dirt.
Water person put out a fire person. How many times has a flame guy accidentally started a brush fire in a family of soil people? Separation here would be an important safety concern, not racial discrimination. These aren't aesthetic or cultural differences. These are actual, physical, scientific differences. This is the problem with trying to create a metaphor.
What the movie is criticizing is that the city provides to be for all elements, and when an element doesn't adapt to its structure, they leave it on its own.
Cool city and all, but how does this Galileo thermometer building work? Are the interior spaces moving based on the temperature of the city? This seems wildly inefficient.
Hey man, looks so cool.
Lacking all known biological structures and consisting of only fire, how exactly was this baby even conceived? And the same goes for the water and cloud people. At least with the earth people, we eventually find out it involves apple fondling.
With sets, of course.
Movie wants kids to know that fire is fun.
Jeremy never played with a fan. Oh.
Promise me one thing, Mary. Fire.
That's terrifying. How did this moment not scar Ember for life? Can you imagine if right before your grandma died, she demanded you make her a promise, and then she burst into flames and vanished?
Well, it's based on the director's life. His grandma also told him to marry a Korean in her deathbed. And he married a no-Korean girl. For him was funny.
An act of God or an act of cloud?
This little clump of dirt has more riz than I do as a big clump of man.
Okay.
That pipe squished me all out of shape.
Did a Pixar movie just highlight a shapely water butt? I mean, depantsing your animated characters is one thing, but going full splooshy tooshy is a whole nother thing altogether.
Yes, and...
Flame!
I'm pretty sure that flame is supposed to be a swear in this world, but how did that happen? Does the water crew say drop when they get pissed?
That's literally that way we say.
This shop is my dad's dream.
He will never trust me to take over.
Why didn't you say that before?
Oh, you, Wade. You broke into their shop and then started immediately writing tickets and then sprinted off to tattle like a small child. Sorry, the exposition of the family store wasn't convenient enough for you to not be an annoying water balloon of an inciting incident.
Wade was only doing his job.
Hey, Fern. How you doing?
Why does everyone in this universe have a name directly related to their race? This would be like if I was named White Dude, or Crackers, or Dave Matthews.
It's called world building.
Also, how did Wade survive that? Part of the movie, he will bubble when he is just near Ember. Other times, he has to be touching her for things to get steamy. And finally, he will completely evaporate from being in the same room for too long. Just saying, there's a difference between remaining cool under pressure and having a boiling point that changes whenever the plot needs it to.
Evaporate water takes too long. Also, this is a really big space.
Always trying to water us down.
He was a water person, Dad, not just water.
Interesting. So the people are made of water, but are not water itself, but also can transform to look like water itself. This actually seems like a nightmare I had once where the walls started growing fingernails. So I may need a bit more explanation.
It's a cartoon, kid. That easy.
There is a reason we left Fireland. A great storm came. All was lost for us.
But when they came here, they got their start by buying a place that was in disrepair and fixing it up. So missing from this story is the reason why fixing a shitty building in Element City was easier than rebuilding their home in Fireland.
Because it showed how the land was destroyed. Also, Cinder said it wasn't easy to live there to begin with. So they have a baby to come. At least in the new city will be so hope for them.
I dare you. Say Cloud Puffs one more time.
Cloud Puffs.
Is that a racial slur? Because I'd prefer any character you want me to give a shit about to probably not go around using racial slurs, even metaphorical ones.
The point of the movie is nobody is safe for prejudice.
You got until Friday.
If you can find the leak and get a crew to fix it by then, those tickets are forgiven.
As the story transitions to a love story, I would like to remind everyone that Ember is only involved because of Wade's watery boner, and that the massive failure of bureaucracy we are witnessing should in no way be her problem to solve.
Oh, that's how my parents met.
But I got you a hat.
Why would the gift shop sell an exploding hat? Even if it wasn't fireproof, why would it explode?
It's called a joke, Jeremy.
It was too dangerous, and they wouldn't let us in.
Listen, I saw my neighbor's house go up in flames. It was one of the scariest things I've ever seen in my life. The intensity of the heat I felt on my face from across the street is something I will never forget. So even though I get the point the movie is trying to make, there is no f***ing way I'm just going to sit here and let you say that fire is not dangerous. And since I'm not willing to risk defending metaphorical racism again in this video, here's a few more sins that should cover the remaining balance.
First, nobody asked you. Second, water and air are pretty dangerous too. Here in Mexico we have a hurricane that was so scary. So yeah, even in this element reality, that point doesn't make sense.
What are you screaming about? It's water. We've literally seen you add to your size by just stretching through water. Just use your water morphing powers to climb out, crybaby.
Jeremy doesn't understand torrents.
We are 2 full minutes into this dating montage set to a modern song, and I got everything I needed in the first 30 seconds.
See this montage. This is the best part of the movie.
Culture's food has spice, and our water bodies can't handle it cliche.
Mexican, I have to say, is not a cliche, it's just the reality.
See, the sun, which is a big ball of fire, is now approaching the ocean, which is a big ball of water. Except it isn't, because it's like 90 million miles away, so your cute visual metaphor means nothing to me.
Yeah, and the sun isn't made of fire, and the fire can talk. Happy now?
You're surprisingly good at your job.
You're surprisingly fast for your age.
You have no idea.
Are they gonna f*** now?
Jeremy, what?
Every building in the new city is built from just melted glass.
That is an interesting detail, and in a movie about racial and economic divisions, it would be even more interesting to know who exactly built these glass buildings if it wasn't the people who can bend and shape steel and glass at will.
Probably with non-sentient fire.
Ember, when I met you, I thought I was drowning.
Drip!
Not. How dare you?
And then you must light these with your fire, and I read the smoke.
Cinder was going to waste all our time with the multiple steps of this ceremony, knowing full well she didn't think Wade could light his stick on fire. But thankfully, Wade's water boner came up with this lensing trick to keep his stick dry.
The point was made and refuted. The relationship wouldn't be possible.
What
are you doing?
It's not so crazy. This is the exact same move my college girlfriend made to prove we were in love too, although hers was less scientific and more just presentation.
Jeremy says something inappropriate, cliché.
But my father did not return the bow, did not give me his blessing.
Waiting until the last half hour to let us realize the story is actually about generational trauma and not inter-elemental relationships, but then also still making it mostly about inter-elemental relationships.
Did you ever pay attention to the movie?
Maybe we can.
No.
But can't we just prove it?
Asking someone to prove their love by touching you.
Isn't a proof of love? It's a proof that it's even possible to make.
You have been seeing water? You caused leak in shop? I trusted you.
Daddy is being mean now, so he can show love later, so we can be manipulated into being sad now and then happy later. This is not...
Jeremy doesn't understand emotions, cliché.
Well, one-way ticket to anywhere but here.
You were a complete ass at the beginning of this movie, you entitled wet spot.
And you have been the whole video.
You came back after everything I said.
You were not the problem,
Jeremy doesn't understand emotional responsibility.
But you're water. We just saw you enter through a freaking keyhole in a door. You can flow your way up through those bricks, no problem.
Yeah, for that we need the keyhole space. Here there's no space.
Right?
But I can't exist in a world without you.
Oh, but you really can't.
She can, but with depression.
The hour and a half of playing up just how shocked everyone is about this pairing completely ignores the quiet population that frequently peruses the inter-element category of Compound Hub.
Can you stop thinking about sets for only 5 minutes?